St. Columba House has been an essential part of the community and the history of the Point. I want to just remind us a little bit about the history of where we are now. You may know this, that the land we now stand on or sit on was occupied by the Mohawks before the Europeans arrived. And they found the area suitable for fishing and goose hunting. And that's why part of the community is always called Goose Village. Also, this peninsula that goes into the river was given by the governor of Montreal, de Maisonneuve, to a man named Charles Lemoyne. He was an interpreter between the native people and the francophones here. People refer to it then as Pointe à Charles. Then it became Point St. Charles. So he's part of our history and our background. In 1821, they began to work on the Lachine Canal. And many people who worked on that canal then were Irish people who then lived in Point St. Charles. And when the Grand Trunk Railway was being built, 3,000 workers, both Irish, Mohawk and others, worked on that project for 5 years, and many settled in Point St. Charles. So the canal and the railway has been an essential part of the community. In fact, at one time, 2,000 people worked in the machine shop for the railway workers here, and were part of this community. But the canal closed, and factories closed. People were out of work. The working class experienced economic stagnation. Many stores, local businesses closed. Point St. Charles changed from a very dynamic industrial community to one of economic stagnation. And St. Columba House has always been a part then of that history of who we are. The Point St. Charles was a community that had a strong cohesion, a sense of belonging. It felt like a neighborhood. And so it worked together for its future. And St. Columba House has always been there to work with people for that future. Now our beginning began in 1917, when a Presbyterian minister named William Cruikshank was aware that there were no churches and no social institutions between the Grand Trunk Railway and the canal. So he opened what was called a settlement house, called St. Columba House. And it was at 50 Solange Street here in the Point. It was a very small house, used for worship and children's activities. It was way too small for what it was doing. So the church agreed to provide funds to build a new building on Grand Trunk, where we are today. It was dedicated in 1926 and became part of the United Church of Canada. The new building, again, focused mostly on worship, on Sunday schools, on midweek programs. A girls' basketball team was formed. There was a boxing club in the basement. There was even an archery club in the basement. Movies were shown on Saturday for 5 cents. There were 10 various girls' clubs and boys' clubs operated over those years. And during the Great Depression, a lunch program was started for the children from the local schools with the help of the Montreal Kiwanis Club. And also clothing and food were distributed. In 1950, we started a nursery school for preschoolers, which then became what is called now the alternate school. It was a Head Start program for 4- and 5-year-olds to get entry into the school system. You know, over time, many principals have said the children who came from the alternate program did much better in school than other children. We tried to help them get a head start. But you know, the 60s came around. Time of change, time of turmoil. The focus of work at St. Columba House changed. Yes, we were helping people, but now we were trying to challenge the traditional authorities, the traditional powers that were at work. So with courage and determination, St. Columba House moved to the forefront of a movement not just to help, but to change our society. We changed our way of working. Every activity was focused on empowering and engaging residents in their own neighborhood. For example, the clothing room used to hand out just clothes, but now people got their clothes, invited them to come and talk with us about their issues, about housing, about health. about welfare, about food security, about family life, about speeding cars on the roads. We organized block by block. This is when I was involved there as a student. Now we'd go to a block and knock on every door, talk to people about their issues, about housing, health, education, whatever's affecting their lives. We'd call them to come to a meeting. We'd have 5 or 6 or 7 people meet around a kitchen table, talking about the issues, what we would do about that. It got bigger, we moved to St. Columba House. And so we began to do what was called community organizing. Groups were formed, and many of them you might be aware of and remember them. There was the Point Action Citizens Council, the Point Adult Centre for Education, the Point Equal Rights Movement, the Greater Montreal Anti-Poverty Coordinating Committee. During this time, we helped create the community clinic, the community legal services, and Lodge Put. They all began through activities with St. Columba House at their centre. I want to give you one example of the community organizing that we did. You know that many of the houses are owned by corporate landlords who didn't keep them up, didn't maintain them very well. One landlord was the Montreal City and District Savings Bank, no longer in existence, it amalgamated, but they did not take care of their houses at all. So we gathered up the complaints about leaking roofs, no hot water, rats, poor windows, inadequate heating. We sent a letter to the landlord asking to repair these things. We held a meeting. They promised to repair them, and they did nothing. So we sent a lawyer's letter, and finally we decided to take public action. Over 50 people were given $5 to go and open a bank account at the bank. We gathered there on the day of the demonstration, a large group outside. 50 people went in with $5, all in pennies. They lined up. The regular customers were getting upset and complaining. The manager finally decided to call the police and close down the bank. Meanwhile, the newspaper and TV were out there watching what was going on. They saw what happened. Finally, those responsible for housing got the message. Promises were made, and this time they were kept. The houses were fixed. But you see, we were upsetting the established order. The powers that be were not happy. So in 1972, the RCMP found the activities of St. Columba House to be subversive. They raided St. Columba House, took all our files, and went away. 6 months later, they came back, gave us our files, apologized, and the case was closed. But some staff still felt they were being watched all the time. It was a sign that we had threatened the powers that be. In the 80s and 90s, St. Columba House began to change its focus a little bit again towards issues of unemployment. We tried to organize a number of job creation programs, such as the Point in Print, or Point at Work, which was reupholstery, or Rent a Hand, where people were matched with people who needed jobs done. These groups operated for about 10 years, but then couldn't continue because of competition. In 1982, we began what was called the Hand in Hand program, providing activities for handicapped seniors, and physically and intellectually handicapped seniors. That we offered cultural, recreational, leisure programs in a safe environment. Without this program, they would be isolated, alone in their homes. And so this year is our 100th anniversary. Our project this year was to complete a renovation of our kitchen. You know, our kitchen serves over 100 meals a day, 5 days a week. And so we decided to renovate the kitchen, to bring it up to code, to meet health standards. We took the kitchen right back to the studs in the wall, and now we have a rebuilt kitchen with modern appliances, bringing it up to health code and to standards. The total cost was $225,000. Most of it has been covered by donations and money from foundations. But we still have some outstanding debts. But we're really proud about our new kitchen. If you want to come by, St. Cloud sometime, come and see our new kitchen. So to celebrate our 100th anniversary, we held a kickoff event last February. We held a gala banquet in April, and we're going to have a homecoming reunion where we want to invite all the former staff, volunteers, and participants in our program to come together to reminisce to celebrate our 100th anniversary. It'll be on Saturday, October 28th, from 3 to 6 p.m. at St. Columba House. Also to celebrate our anniversary, we've commissioned an art installation, a video about our work, a 100th anniversary booklet, and a historical tribute to the 100 years we've been in existence. So St. Columba continues to be at the center of action in the point. We are thankful for the continuing support of the United Church, our various donors and foundations, and the community at large. We are blessed with a dedicated and knowledgeable staff, a wonderful crew of volunteers, and a dedicated board of directors who shepherd us and will shepherd us to the next 100 years. So I thank you for our recognition. Thank you very much.
Accept the award.
An incredible honor. I'm 9 days on the job. What a way to start, don't you think? Before I say thank you, I want to share with you one quick story. My third day at the job, we started our staff meetings, our annual staff meetings, getting ready for the new year of programming. First thing I asked the team is, introduce your program to me with a story. Because I see all these programs we have on paper, but I want to know what they're about. Each of them shared incredible stories about how all of you have impacted their lives. That's what I needed to hear. We celebrate 100 years of your stories. Your story is part of my story now, and I'm part of your story. Thank you so much for this incredible honor.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Ron. Ron, it's a good thing we're not paying you by the word. Although it's true what they say, great stories take time. So thank you for sharing. One more time.